What's up, Unstoppable Squad? Today we have another AEW Dynamite full show results and thoughts. Throughout this whole show, we're going to go through play-by-play by match. I'm Unstoppable. We're under orange lights for AEW Dynamite. So tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite was broadcasted live from the Rogers Place in Edmonton, AB. Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Human Suplex Machine Taz were the broadcast team for tonight's event. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Darby Allin and had words for Keith Lee backstage. The footage that aired took place just prior to the show going on the air. Darby Allin says, "I know you don't want to team with Swerve, but this isn't about that. This is about you. At one time, you were the most dominant champions here. If you feel you've been lost in the shuffle since you guys lost the tag championship, do something about it. Even if you have to win this match 2-on-1 without Swerve, do that. What I'm trying to say is pull your head out of your ass and take this serious. Or you can just sit on the apron and cry about it. I'll see which Keith Lee shows up tonight." Keith Lee says, "Ballsy, stupid, but ballsy." Blind Eliminator Tag Team Match Tournament Quarterfinal Match. We have Limitless Keith Lee and the Mogul Embassy Swerve Strickland versus International Champion Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. Keith Lee walked by Swerve and didn't even look at him, said Taz. Keith Lee hurled Darby Allin halfway across the ring. Orange Cassidy tagged in and played mind games with Keith, trying to get into his head. Keith Lee blasted Orange with a double overhead chop. "Wow, the power and strength of that massive man," said Taz. Darby attempted a coffin splash, but Keith Lee caught him. As Keith was holding Darby, Orange fired off an orange punch. Swerve tagged in and rocked Darby with a diving uppercut. Keith Lee assisted Swerve with a suplex powerbomb combo on Darby Allin. Orange jumped off the turnbuckles and Keith Lee intercepted him and applied a bear hug. Outside the ring, Swerve sandwiched Darby under the steel ring steps. Orange jumped on Keith Lee's back, but Keith walked up the steps with Orange on his back and Darby underneath the steps. Keith Lee blocked a DDT from Orange, but Orange countered with a stun dog millionaire. Keith Lee hung on, but Darby came over with the code red. After things began to break down, but between the team of Swerve and Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy seized the moment and nailed Swerve with a diving DDT. Darby pinned Swerve with the Last Supper. That was an impressive win over the former AEW World Tag Team Champions, said Taz. Keith Lee smiled and offered fist bumps to Darby and Orange as a sign of respect. A Nick Wayne hype package aired. Nick Wayne has turned 18, and I think he's ready for this. It's literally up to him to show the world now, said Darby Allin. Tony Schiavone was backstage trying to get an interview with Jungle Boy Jack Perry as Perry's Kafurud SUV pulled into the arena. Jack Perry says, "Last week was ridiculous. I'm not some thug from New York. Hook, if you want to handle this, we're going to do it in the ring, like professionals. And that's why I'm going to Tony Khan's office to demand an FTW title match." Hook charged at Jack Perry, clubbing him with lefts and rights. Jungle Boy Jack Perry jumped into the SUV and told the driver to go. Trios match. We have the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens and Daddy Ass versus the Blade and Bullywood Boys, Gerv and Harv. Billy Gunn applied a side headlock on Blade. Gunn took Blade off his feet with a shoulder block. Billy landed a big haymaker. Max body slammed both Bollywood Boys and then did it to Blade. Bowens connected with a scissors me timbers. Billy Gunn tagged in and planted Gerv. Caster hit the mic drop and pinned Gerv. A great trios victory from the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. They have built up so much momentum as a unit this year, said Excalibur. QTV's Harley Cameron appeared on the big screen above the ramp. She said she made them a little video and would love to show the world what real talent is next week. See you then, Bowens, she said and winked. Clips aired from earlier today of Eddie Kingston defeating Kenta for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship in Tokyo. And I actually reported that news yesterday about it. Congrats to Eddie Kingston on winning. And somebody said that clickbait. How can I clickbait? I was actually talking about what I said in the title. So that ain't no clickbait. I am sorry. If it said video and I didn't air any video, then yes, that's clickbait. But I didn't clickbait in the wrestling news. So I was gonna say wrestling news, but it's AEW / New Japan Pro Wrestling News. It says it right on the freaking title of the screen. Before you went to go click it, I have no I never clickbait any videos on this channel at all. Or any of my YouTube channels. I never ever clickbait any videos. Blackpool Combat Club. Jon Moxley had a message for Eddie Kingston. Moxley said, Eddie Kingston and I are the exact same people we were when I met him in 2009. Well over a decade. The ups and downs, the good times, the bad. We both had made it out. What's there to complain about? Dude, you know what really pissed me off? How much time you spend complaining about the young kids, the new generation, and how they have no respect, how they have no work ethic. We spent time building the next generation. I had a dream of this Eddie Kingston that finally embraces the future and become what he could be. But that ain't reality. Eddie, answer your phone. I definitely see Eddie Edwards versing Jon Moxley one-on-one. Renee and RJ City were backstage with Matt Hardy to see who his tag team partner would be in the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. RJ City says, it's Jeff. Matt Hardy said, Jeff, my brother Jeff? RJ City says, Jeff Jarrett. Matt Hardy says, I hate Jeff Jarrett. The Ocho, Chris Jericho made his way to the ring. Jericho says, it's a little bit bittersweet here for me. Over the last few months, I've had a lot of big losses to my name. And things haven't gone the way I wanted them. So maybe it's time to re-elevate things and make a couple changes. This is the perfect place for me to reinvigorate. Alberta is where I started my pro wrestling career. I had my first match just an hour from here. So I got here a couple of days early this week. I remembered what it was like when I first started wrestling. The passion, the fire, when wrestling was everything to me. And it reminded me that wrestling still is everything to me. So yeah, Alberta is now the place where I feel resecured, I don't know. It's time to become a better Chris Jericho. Maybe even become the best version of the Chris Jericho ever. Jericho was interrupted by Don Callis. Callis walked to the ring with a microphone. Don Callis said, I think, Chris, what I'm hearing is that you need a change. And it was 6 years ago, July 5th, 2017, that I called you from a hotel in Tokyo. And I called and asked, how would you like to main event the Tokyo Dome with Kenny Omega? And if there was, you could barely hear Don Callis because the fans were so booing him. But not as loud as they were booing Dominic. And buddy, in our 34 years of friendship, you even surprised me because you said, oh yeah. And with that match, we changed the course of professional wrestling history. Without that match, none of these people are here. Without that match, I don't think Chris Jericho is here right now without my idea. Chris Jericho says, sorry, it's kind of hard for me to hear what you're saying with all these boos here tonight. But Don, I can say that thing about you. It meant to say same. It was 8 years ago in 2015 when you were in the middle of your very successful international business career. But I knew deep down inside you were miserable. You wanted to be back in pro wrestling business. I helped you get back in the pro wrestling business. I helped you get into AEW. And now look at you. You're bigger and more powerful than you've ever been in professional wrestling. So if it wasn't for me, you might not be even here. Don Callis says, you know, Chris, as with most things in our 34-year friendship, you and I are in agreement. I agree that when Don Callis and Chris Jericho get together, we make history. But as you know, I recently betrayed by a coward, Kenny Omega. So I've had to build a new family because Kenny destroyed my family. And my family is going to be built on trust. When I think of trust, I think of the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho. I think of the men who beat Kenny Omega right here in All Elite Wrestling. When I think of trust, I think of my best friend of 34 years. I think of Chris Jericho. So, if you're ready to change history one more time, then I am here to formally ask you one question. Will you join the Don Callis family? Jericho says, you're seriously asking me to join Don Callis family? You're asking me to join your faction? Chris Jericho doesn't join factions. Chris Jericho creates them. So if you're seriously asking me to join up with you, my answer is maybe. Chris Jericho walked out of the ring and Don Callis smiled. So, my opinion here is I definitely think it might lead up to a couple weeks from now that Chris Jericho is going to be thinking about it and he may join or he may not join. I don't know. I really don't know the facts, what's going to happen. He could or couldn't. There's a 50-50 chance here that he could join. He couldn't join. And he might not join, sorry. And he may join. There's a 50-50 chance there. Renee was backstage trying to get a medical update on Roderick Strong. Doc Sampson said Strong was making progress from last week, but they were taking precautions. Strong is in a neck brace. I feel amazing, he says. Doc says, I understand that, but Adam Cole walked into the locker room. Cole, Roddy, how do you feel? Strong, I feel great. Cole, you have to be careful. You have all the time in the world. Strong says, what's the deal with you and MJF? Cole says, listen, don't worry about me. I'm worried about you. I have everything under control. I made it clear to him that I have my boundaries. I just got a text from MJF. Hey, bro, you ready to hit that double clothesline tonight? Or what? Unreal. I'm up next, so I have to go get ready. Love you, man. Strong says, love you too. I don't know about that. I think Strong might turn on Adam Cole. Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament quarterfinal match. AEW World Champion MJF and Adam Cole versus the Butch and Daddy Magic Matt Menard. The reason why I think that's going to happen is when he might cost MJF and Adam Cole a tag team the tag team championships or the tag team tournament final match. Either way, it might happen. The Butcher and Daddy Magic blindsided MJF and Adam Cole at the start of the match. MJF thumbed Matt Menard in the eye. Adam Cole reluctantly gave MJF assistance with an abdominal stretch behind the ref's back. Menard locked MJF in an abdominal stretch. MJF pleaded with Cole to help him. MJF hip-tossed his way out of the hold after going south of the border with a cheap shot. Cole tagged in and cleaned house on Butcher and Daddy Magic. Cole connected with a neckbreaker on the knee to Daddy Magic. Cole blasted Butcher with a super kick. Cole dropped Daddy Magic with a super kick. Cole lowered the boom and pinned Menard after a running knee to the back of Menard's head. And pretty much MJF wanted to go for a double clothesline. MJF says, cut the music, Alberta, Canada. I got a question. We got an devil worshippers in the house tonight. I got another question. We got any fans of a super cool individual with an over name? MJF whispered to Cole, do the thing. Cole struck his pose and the crowd yelled in unusual, Adam Cole, baby! MJF, that's right, because we're better than you, baby. So listen, I was wondering, maybe me and you should have another bro session this weekend. You guys want to see us hang one more time? Cole says, sure, Max, why not? MJF, wait, I had one more thing I needed to tell you. Happy birthday, bring out the birthday stuff. Let's go. Production assistants carried out a modest birthday cake and birthday hats. Oh my god, this was the funniest bit here. Adam Cole says, Max is a lot. This is a lot. MJF says, today is all about you. We're here to celebrate you. And happy birthday, Adam Cole, by the way. MJF started to sing happy birthday to Cole. Cole says, I appreciate it, but you've done more than enough. MJF says, there's one more thing you need to do. Make a wish. Make a wish. Well, Adam Cole looked at the cake. MJF turned and said into the camera, I'm going to shove his face into the cake. After Adam Cole made a wish, as MJF went to shove Cole's face into the cake, Cole turned around and throttled MJF. Cole pushed MJF's face into the cake. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. Cole, good cake. Max, listen to me. It was really nice of you to do all of this for my birthday. Max, thank you, my friend. Chris Jericho was confronted by a concerned Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara backstage. Jericho says, "You can't always be under my wing forever. You guys need to branch out for yourselves at some point without me leading you." Renee says, actually guys, I've been doing the drawings all day, and you two are teaming up together in the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. Jericho says, "This is perfect. This is the perfect opportunity to prove what I'm saying. Show me who can be the leader here. Like I said, you can't be with me forever." Garcia looked at Sammy and said, "Let's finish what we started." Next, we have the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinal match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus the Outcast Ruby Soho with AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm and Saraya. Baker had a hammerlock on Ruby. Baker hit a shoulder block on Ruby. Baker connected with a sling blade. The Outcast circled Baker outside the ring, and then Ruby Soho planted Baker on the arena floor. Back in the ring, Baker dished out the lariats and then a neckbreaker to Ruby. Baker puts on her surgical glove. Ruby tried for the no future, but Britt blocked it. Toni Storm grabbed Britt's boot, and Ruby nailed Baker with a suplex for a near fall. Baker dodged a double foot stomp and landed a thrust kick to Baker. Britt applied the lockjaw. Saraya distracted the referee while Toni held up Britt's title that she earned last year by winning the tournament. Ruby smashed Britt into the title belt face first. Soho connected with the no future kick, but Baker kicked out at the count of 2. Ruby went for the lockjaw on Baker. Britt Baker kicked off the ropes and transitioned into applying the lockjaw on Ruby. The Outcast grabbed Ruby's leg and pulled her out of the ring to save her. I'm surprised the referee didn't throw them out. Britt Baker hoisted up Ruby Soho, but Ruby Soho cradled her with a victory roll by the help of Ruby grabbing the hands of the Outcast and with their help. Ruby Soho pinned Britt Baker. "They stole a win," said Tony Schiavone. Sky Blue was standing on the ramp and had a face-off with Ruby Soho. Well, main event time. The Elites, Kenny Omega versus the Blackpool Combat Club's Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler got a lot of confidence coming into this match, said Schiavone. Yuta ambushed Omega before the bell rang. Wheeler Yuta chopped at Omega. Kenny hit back with strikes and kicks. Yuta bit down on Omega's head. Omega sent Yuta flying with a backdrop. He followed up with a backbreaker for a near fall. Omega went for a moonsault, but Yuta lifted up his knees in defense. Yuta blasted Omega with a drop kick from the turnbuckles. Yuta followed up with a suicida, sending Omega crashing into the barricade. Wheeler Yuta seizing the opportunity on his opportunity, said Excalibur. Omega countered a sit-down senton. Omega connected with a big elbow strike and then a fisherman's buster for a near fall. Yuta avoided the V-trigger and rocked Kenny with a shot to the back of Kenny's head. Omega superplexed Yuta for a near fall. Omega and Yuta traded forearms. Yuta planted Omega with 2 German suplexes. Omega hit Yuta with a front snap kick. Omega nailed Yuta with a Snapdragon suplex, and then a second Snapdragon suplex. Omega connected with the V-trigger. Omega tried the one-winged angel, but Yuta escaped and put Omega in the seatbelt for a near fall. Omega wobbled Yuta with the V-trigger for a near fall. Don Callis walked to the ring, but security held him back. Toshida snuck behind Omega and planted Omega with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Yuta splashed Omega with... splashed Omega, but Kenny kicked out at 2. Omega scored the pin after the one-winged angel on Wheeler Yuta. Claudio jumped into the ring and attacked Kenny Omega. The attack after the bell, Toshida getting in on it as well, said Excalibur. Claudio and Toshida assaulted Omega after the bell until the Young Bucks and Adam Page ran down with chairs to even up the odds. The Bucks held Claudio while Page was going to hit Claudio with the steel chair, but the Dark Order ran down and pulled the chair out of Page's hand as the show went off the air. Catch AEW Dynamite on TBS next Wednesday live at 8/7 Central from the Sastical Center in, I don't know, Saskatoon, SK. This Friday, tune into AEW Rampage at Rampage 100 at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Don't miss AEW Collision on Saturday live on TNT at 8/7 Central from the Brandant Center in Regina, SK, featuring AEW World Tag Team Championship Eliminator match. AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR versus the Bullet Club's Gold's Juice Robinson and Jay White. Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Semi-Final Match. NJPW Strong Women's Champion Willow Nightingale versus Ring of Honor's Women's World Champion Athena. Owens Hart Foundation Men's Tournament Semi-Final Match. Absolute Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament Semi-Final Match. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. And remember, the home of professional wrestling is All Elite Wrestling. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back with some more news later on today. If not, I'll see you guys for tomorrow for some news and some Impact Wrestling results. I'm unstoppable, and I'm out.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Skiz here, and if you don't subscribe to Blonde and the Unstoppable Denominator, then you are a toothy bumfuck, pussy ass bitch motherfucker.